Shalom, Kahaloyim, La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ruchak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught us knowledge and who rule well. Honors and salutations to you fellow laborers that are out there doing the work of truth and sincerity. Shalom to you, and shalom to the Akwaf that believe as well. Back at you another lesson. And I just entitled this video, Defile and Unclean is synonymous. All right, meaning, it means the same thing, because you got guys out here just saying you can have sex on the Sabbath, and that's making yourself defiled or unclean. All right, and we was told, all right, from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, all right, by way of Moses, who was our mediator at that time, to not defile ourselves concerning, the Sabbath. So this is my video response. Lord willing, it's edifying. I'm going to jump right into it and give some examples of how defile and unclean is the same thing, about simply looking up words, because if we look up words and get a full understanding of what the word means, all right, then we will understand what the scriptures are saying, because etymology is important, especially concerning the scriptures. This is how the wacky-tacky Christians, when they come against us in the world, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we're able to confound them because they don't know how to look up words, okay? And then you have guys within Israel that simply refuse to look up words, and that's their downfall, okay? That's a stumbling block unto them. So, again, no, you cannot have sex on the Sabbath, and I'm going to show you how you defiling yourself or making yourself unclean if doing so. Now, am I guilty? Of course, I've broken the law myself. I'm guilty of that. The scriptures say all have sinned, referring to all of us Israelites. We all have sinned, okay? And Judges 5:11, all right, it tells you clearly that we are to rehearse the righteous acts. Now, we know that the righteous acts are of the law. And in knowing the scriptures, all right, we know that we can't keep the law, especially being in captivity. All right, but Paul, okay, let me get that real quick before I open up with this. Paul said we ought to establish the law. And that's something that we do, all right? Because faith inspires you to rehearse the righteous acts, which is the law, okay? Because we know, like I said, we can't keep the law, but hey, that's what faith comes into play, We keep the laws that we can keep to the best of our ability. Yeah, we're going to stumble. Hey, the scriptures say that a righteous man falleth 7 times. So, hey, man, we're not perfect, but we are to strive to be perfect. Okay, like Yahweh Shai said, be ye perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect. Okay, so this is Paul right here in Romans, the 3rd chapter, and the 31st verse. It says, do we then make void the law through faith? The Heavenly Father forbid, yea, we establish the law. So we are to establish the law again. Okay. Now, going back to my original precept I want to open up with, right? Remember, the name of this video is Defiled and Unclean is synonymous. Okay, so let's go right to it, man. Exodus, the 31st chapter. And as you can see right here, it says the sign of the Sabbath, right? On NLT side, it says instructions for the Sabbath. Now, I'm going to start at verse 14. All right. And I'm going to read down. All right. It says Exodus 31-14. And remember, this is during a time where the Heavenly Father has separated our forefathers from among the Egyptians. All right, he had destroyed the Egyptians and delivered his people from under the hand of the Egyptians, which are our forefathers. Okay, and Moses, that was the mediator at that time, was given, the laws, commandments, statutes, and judgments. Okay, written on tablets of stone. Okay, all right, and we know that it was written by that laser beam. All right, that engraved the laws, commandments, statutes, and judgments. All right, on those stones. All right, and Moses gave them to our forefathers. All right, when he came from the mount. Okay, so this is during that time period. Okay, Exodus 31 and 14, and it reads, "Ye shall keep the Sabbath thereof, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant." Now, and let me add in there too, by the way, the Sabbath is not, all right, on the full moon. That's nonsense, man. Okay, the full moon is not the Sabbath. All right, period. Now, when you know how to look up the Sabbath, which is according to the moon cycle, all right, and the moon cycle starts when the moon is at zero illumination. That's the new moon. All right, you can look that up. All right, type in the new moon, and you go into the etymology of it. It'll say month, and it'll say lunar cycle, all right, or lunar calendar. All right, not no Saturday. So let's go to the word defile in the 14th verse and look up the word defile. All right, Lord, whether you can hear me too. I'm in my truck, so it goes on and off, and I try to keep it at a minimum. So Lord, whether you can hear me as well, and slack you for the noise. So the word for defile, which is halal. All right, halal. It says to profane, defile, pollute, desecrate, begin. To profane oneself, defile oneself, pollute oneself. Ritually, sexually, to be polluted, be defiled. And then when you go, because that's pretty much the gist of it. Well, matter of fact, let me see what what's on the Hebrew lexicon. Let's see if it has anything. It says to profane, open, profane. All right. So I'm gonna go from there to the online etymology, because defile, pollute, same thing, right? Now this is defile on the online etymology. I'm gonna go to scripture too and prove that too, because another precept that goes into defile, or unclean, it means to defile. Okay, so this is defile from the online etymology, and it says to desecrate, profane, to make foul or dirty, right? If you're dirty, you're unclean, right? That's common sense. It says it uses to rape, deflower. That's going into sexual relations, which when a man lie with a woman, all right, he defiles her, all right. They both become defiled through sex, because that's the seed of copulation. I'm going to get that, Lord willing, in a moment. Okay. Now, when you jump down right here, let me get this out the way. I don't know what that is. It says the alteration or reformation in English is from influence of Middle English fouling, to render foul, make unclean or impure, literal and figurative. Okay, so again, the foul and unclean is synonymous. All right, when you go deep into the word. Now, when you go back to the scriptures, and I mentioned the seed of copulation from man. Excuse me. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to go right to it, right? And look up the word unclean, because it's going to go back to the word defile. All right. This is Leviticus chapter 15. All right, in verse 16, it says, "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the evening. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening." Now, I looked up the word unclean, right? And when I looked it up, all right, it says unclean, right? It says sama, it says to be unclean, become impure. Remember on the etymology, it said to what? Make unclean right here. Let me highlight that, right? It says make unclean or impure, right? It says to be unclean, become impure. It says to be or become unclean sexually, religiously, ceremonially, to defile oneself. See, to defile oneself, be defiled. Okay, it's synonymous. Now I'm gonna go to Google. You can even look it up on Google, right? It says defile, define defile, right? I'm gonna look up the words. Okay. It says similar. It says spoil, sully, mar, impair, debase, degrade, pollute, poison, corrupt, taint, tarnish, infect, foul, be foul, dirty. You know that dirty is unclean, same thing. Soil, stain, destroy, ruin. All right, even if we look it up on here, right? Oh, it gives an example. It says, check that out. Look at Google, right? Let me expand that, right? Now, if you notice right here, I'm gonna highlight this, right? Let me highlight this. Hold on, just like bear me one moment. This is from Google, right? It says, violate the chastity of a woman. All right, you know what chastity means, right? It's referring to sex. It says, he took her behind the building and defiled her. All right. Meaning what? All right, it's referring to having sex with her. All right, a man and a woman. Okay. Violate the chastity. What does chastity means? Let's define chastity. The state or practice of refraining from extramarital, or especially from all sexual intercourse. See? And it says similar, celibacy, virginity. See? Vows of chastity, man. It's referring to sex. Okay, so when you, again, have sex, you're making yourself unclean, You're defiling yourself and the woman you lay with, and even anything you touch. That's what you're doing, all right, when you have sex. So when you have sex on the Sabbath, again, going back to, what was it, Exodus 31? All right, let me read it again. All right. Going back to Exodus 31. I was at verse 14, right? Excuse me. Again, Exodus 31 and 14. You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. So, technically, we're supposed to be put to death for defiling the Sabbath, man. All right, this is why the Lord gave us grace, man, to rehearse the righteous acts. Okay, and this is actually something that I myself, all of us, can keep, man. All right, by not having sex on the Sabbath. Okay, because we defile ourselves when we have sex on the Sabbath. All right, and according to the law of the Lord. All right, remember Paul said we established the law, right? Remember that we can be put to death, technically, for breaking the Sabbath, okay? It says, for whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Hey, the Sabbath is something serious, man. All right, so it shows you how far we are from from being. It shows you how far we are from being perfect, man, within the guidelines of the laws, commandments, and statutes, man. And that's why we just rehearse, man, because we can't keep it, man. And this is where faith, all right, faith, which is the main ingredient we need, all right, as laborers. Faith is the main key ingredient that we need to salvation, because believing in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, and then we rehearse the righteous acts, right? That's established in the law, right? All right, so that we may be granted salvation, because that's the Lord showing his mercy, all right? And on this side, the Lord is going to show mercy unto the elect, all right, and the rest of the 1/3, those of us that believe, and not only believe, which is our faith, we show our faith through our works. And we know that the works that we do according to the law can help us be saved, but still, we establish the law to the best of our ability, man. So if you're saying you can have sex on the Sabbath, you're going off, man. I mean, simply put, you're going off. All right? The Lord told us to keep the Sabbath holy. All right, so if you're having sex on the Sabbath, you're defiling yourself, you make yourself unclean, all right, and you're not making the Sabbath holy, all right. Now, I was watching the Apostles, and they made mention of something. I was watching the Apostles Street Ministry, and they mentioned something, and it's true. They made me go back and look it up, which they mentioned about how we couldn't, our forefathers couldn't have sex, all right, when the Lord was making that covenant or agreement between himself and our forefathers, how our forefathers couldn't have sex, all right, because they had to be clean, okay? They was consecrating themselves, okay, unto the Lord, all right? They wasn't defiling themselves or making themselves unclean, and the Lord told Moses to tell them to don't come at your wives. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm gonna get that example real quick in the book of Exodus 19 and verse 14, right? And this is again during the time of our then mediator Moses, right? Exodus 19 and 14, it says, and Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. See, making themselves clean, right? Our forefathers were making themselves clean unto the Lord. All right, it says, verse 15, it says, and he said unto them, the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. See? Come not at your wives. Now, when you read it on the NLT, all right, verse 15, it says, he told them, get ready for the third day, and until then, abstain from having sexual intercourse. Because why? It defiles you. It makes you unclean when you have sex. See? And this is a holy ceremony that was going on because our forefathers was getting ready to receive the Lord's law, all right, and his commandments and statutes and judgments, all right, for them to live by, man, and so that they may live, all right, and not perish. See? So, you know, again, having sex on the Sabbath it's not clean, man. All right, it's not undefiled. You're actually defiling yourself. You're making yourself unclean. See? And this is what the Lord always told as a reminder, all right, to the nation of Israel, all right, to our forefathers, man. I'm gonna give another example in Exodus 20 real quick. All right, the Lord always told them, and the them I'm referring to is our ancestors, which, hey, through reincarnation, we are our forefathers, by the way. Okay. But the Lord told our forefathers, hey, reminding them, hey, not tell you don't pollute my Sabbath, or to hallow my Sabbath or make my Sabbath holy. Don't make it unholy. Right? If you make it unholy, I'm going to punish you. All right? You're going to perish. See? Even in Exodus the 20th chapter, it say what? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So if you have the sex on the Sabbath day, you're not keeping it holy. Again, have I done that before? Well, hey, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Yes, I'm guilty of that. When I was in the world, and then as you further along in this truth, you learn, man. You start reading the laws, commandments, statutes, and you read it with understanding. You be like, oh, snap. And hey, man, I myself felt filthy when I learned the law and learned that, hey, because we're in this captivity, we're in this wicked ass flesh, and we're subject to go off, man. And it don't feel good when you know the way of righteousness according to the scriptures, and you look at yourself in the mirror. All right, don't feel good because you realize how unclean and how defiled and just how filthy you are, man. All right, but hey, don't let your sins weigh you down, because if you believe in Yahweh Shema Shah, you do, and you do what's commanded of you, Lord willing, you'll be granted salvation, man. And you're remorseful for the sins that you committed, man. Because we're all worthy of punishment. We're all worthy of death, man. But as you grow in this truth, man, this knowledge, you are to do your best to refrain from such things. Okay. I myself, I'm starting with myself, Hey, I'm hard on myself, This is Ezekiel 20 and 16, right? Going into the example of the Lord reminding us, right? Ezekiel 20 and 16. I'm gonna read down a bit. It's kind of a long precept, but let's see how far I go. I'm gonna read till get the meat out of it. Ezekiel 20 and 16, because they despised my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. See, it mentions how, our foreparents were polluting the Sabbath, man. All right. What's another word for defile? or unclean, it mentioned polluted. All right. It's synonymous, man. If you know what the word synonymous means, you understand that it means pretty much the same thing, man. Okay. You have many words that can be worded differently or spelled differently, right? But it can have the same meaning, right? Verse 18, I'm sorry. But I say unto their children, in the wilderness walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, your power, walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. See? It says, verse 20, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, your power. So we are to, all right, walk in the Lord's statutes and judgments, man. All right, walk in this law to the best of our ability. All right, and I quote it now. I'll just get it right here. Judges 5:11. Too far. Here we go. Judges 5:11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. See, and though we're not in our land, all right, we're supposed to reverence the righteous acts, all right, as if we were in the land, all right. Let me, Slacky. Let me see. Can I find that? It's a precept that says, bear me 1 second. It's a precept that mentions the righteous acts are of the law. Let me see. Let's see, can I find it? Bear me 1 second. Of the law. Let me see. It should be the New Testament. So I believe Paul made that statement. Okay. Because Paul mentioned also that the law being our schoolmaster. All right, because that's where our education came from. Okay, now let me see here. I may have worded it a little wrong. Yeah, I think I worded it wrong. I think I passed it. Okay, so let's go here. All right, Romans the 10th chapter. And I'll start a bit, you know. But yeah, let's go. I think this house. Romans 10:3. Shalakia. I didn't write this precept down, but I just thought about it, you know, because I know that Paul referred to the law as righteousness. Okay, so, or righteous. Romans 10:3. For they being ignorant of the Most High's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High. For Hamashiach, which is, you know, Yahushua, the anointed. For Hamashiach is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believe it. See, this is where faith come in, because the word faith means to believe. Okay. It says for Hamashiach is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believe it. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law, that the man which doeth those things shall live by them. See? Because again, that's how our ancestors knew what righteousness is, because it was according to the law. All right, and if you didn't do according to the law, you were being wicked. All right, you was committing sin. All right, or iniquity. All right, and there's a punishment that came with that. This is why we went into captivity after captivity, and behold, we are yet in captivity, even until this very day. Like the book of Baruch, the 3rd chapter mentions. It says, verse 6, but the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on the wise. See? It says, hey, let me read it again. It says, but righteousness which is of faith speaketh on the wise. Say not in thine heart, who shall ascend into heaven, that is, to bring Hamashiach down from above. But, the point is, through faith, all right, we rehearse righteous acts, man. All right. And that's the whole point. So if you truly believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, not having sex on the Sabbath is something that we can, refrain from doing. All right. We can refrain from committing such an act, because it's not that serious, man. Okay. It's not that serious. Having sex, there's nothing wrong with telling your woman to wait. No, it's Sabbath, all right, standing firm on it, because at the beginning of the day, man, if you truly believe, all right, if you truly believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you're going to do, the work, all right, of keeping the laws that you can keep to the best of your ability. All right, and that's just what it is, man. All right. So those of you that don't truly believe, of course, you're going to say things like, you don't have to keep, or you don't have to have, no, you're going to say things like you can have sex on the Sabbath, which is a total profane, unclean and defiled thing, man, to do on the Sabbath. Okay. So again, you got guys out in Israel is going to do that, but then that shows you that you have, even within Israel, which when I say within Israel, I mean the ones that know it, the ones that know they're Israelites and know that they're doing mischievousness or doing wicked things within Israel, because everyone that says shalom to you don't mean they're a brother. All right, and don't mean that they truly believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right, and that's just what it is, man. All right, you're gonna have the good with the bad. All right, and Judas Iscariot is a prime example of the bad. Was he an Israelite? Of course, but he was an example of a bad Israelite. Okay, because he didn't truly believe. That's why he what did he do? He set up the Messiah. All right, and he was along with the Messiah on his journey. All right, but he yet betrayed Yahweh Shai. Okay, because he didn't believe. And afterwards, when Yahweh Shai was crucified, then he, it was too late then. But then he believed, but it was too late, man. All right, he already had done the act of betrayal. Okay, and it was done. All right, but back to my video. The point is, defile and unclean is synonymous. And again, if you're having sex on the Sabbath, you are making yourself defiled and unclean. All right, and we're supposed to reverence the Most High's law, man, and rehearse it. All right, so with that, I want to say, Lord willing, this video have been edifying. And again, Lord willing, you were able to hear me. Like I said, my truck going on and off. But Lord willing, you were able to hear me through the noise in the background. And with that, I want to say shalom in the Bible bar. Shalom to the sincere Akim out there. Until the next video, shalom.